Welcome to Homocide, the podcast. Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Brandon.
And you were listening to Homocide, the podcast.
Yes. Homocide the podcast is for the girls, the gays, and the theys who love true crime and hate the culture of sensationalizing murders.
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. I can't even say the
That
opening
was
line.
good. Sensationalizing murder. So, Brandon, what is your story about today?
So my story I titled is a story written in blood.
Oh my God, that's very intense.
It is.
Mine is just 8 to 10 years, the cost of freedom from abuse.
Oh.
Oh, it's very lackluster. Apologies.
I know. Mine is better than yours this time. I love
but
it.
Brandon, we have a very special human guest here today.
Actually, our first guest on just a regular episode of Homicide the podcast.
That's true. And this human you probably will know.
At least like 4-point-something million of you might know.
Yeah, maybe. But we knew him prior to his fame. And so I'm really excited to welcome Luke.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Here. I could talk to you. Know how long? I was just quiet. I was quiet for a long time. It's probably the longest I've been quiet in a minute. I was like clenching the chair. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta talk. I can't shut the
Oh my God. I love that. So Luke, tell us, who are you?
Yes. How would people know you?
Yeah.
Who is Luke? That sums it up pretty well.
Maybe.
Yeah. I love to empower people to dump his ass. And I think that is what I'm mostly known for, and maybe my little giggle.
Maybe the little giggle.
Maybe,
It
just a
might
little
be
bit.
that.
I don't
It might be
know.
that. Oh my God, I love that. It's been fun to see. It's always fun to see people kind of go from who they are and then like become this thing that other people like kind of look up to and look at and are entertained by.
Yeah.
And so it's fun that, because we met you 7 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
technically you two met.
Yeah.
yeah.
In
Yeah,
the chamber,
we got
right?
the fun task of working on a chamber board together, which
Yeah.
we will not discuss the name of that chamber. It was a very fun time.
It was. It was fun, especially because I got connected to y'all.
Right?
I did make some good friendships from there.
Yeah. You
did. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some great people. It was
Yeah.
not a fun time, but we got through it, and we're not doing it anymore. So
Yeah.
I just realized I'm just not. That's not like I'm not good at that stuff.
no.
Chamber stuff?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I actually hate networking in general. And
Yeah.
the reason that I hate it is I don't like being fake. I like to walk up to people and be like, tell me your life story.
Yeah.
Tell me everything inside.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, you're in marketing, I don't need you, bye.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God, you dick. Yeah.
I know.
I'm not good at it.
But I'm still a good person.
I know.
Like, talk to me.
I know. Like I can't. I want to have a conversation about cheese. I don't know. Like, I don't want to. I don't know.
Yeah. But then part of me is like, I really don't want to go to a place and talk to a stranger about the weather for 10 minutes and then go to the next person and talk to the weather about the weather for 10 more minutes. Like,
Yeah,
networking is just
I'm
not
not
fun.
good at it. Yeah. And I seem like a bitch and I just don't like it.
I mean, well, you are, but
You are.
thank you.
Well, you are. He's like, stop. My
you.
favorite question to ask actually is if you could have dinner with 3 women, they could be dead or alive. Who would they be?
oh, I love that.
Because it's like gives you good insight into who they would like.
Yeah.
Okay, we should all answer this question. Brandon, you first.
Okay.
I'm really bad at thinking on the spot.
I'm really bad.
Part
at
of me
thinking.
wants to say like, I know, just
like-
period.
I'm really bad at thinking.
There's not much going on up here.
I mean, the first person that comes to mind is Whoopi Goldberg, just because I fucking love her, and I think it would be fun to like smoke a joint and hang out with her.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, there's one. You have 3.
I know. We'll go round robin like one at a time.
Okay, cool. Michelle Obama.
Princess Diana.
That was going to be my next one. I literally just thought I would love to know what happened.
I know.
would love
I just
sit
want
and
to like
talk
talk to her and be like, "What's up, girl?"
Right?
Yes. God, Princess Di. Oh. Okay,
My
well,
brain's going blank.
You have to go next. Women.
Like-
Women,
History.
history.
Current.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh,
RBG.
that's one of mine.
Yeah, I would
That's
do
a good one.
RBG. Okay, why am I going? Okay, Viola Davis.
Ooh.
I love Viola Davis.
I do too.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that would be second.
Lady Gaga.
Oh, yes.
I know.
No, girl,
I just, she's so, I don't know. I just love her. I feel like we'd be besties.
You actually would be best.
Right?
I know. I feel like love me.
Love me.
Be my friend.
It's fine. It's
Did you see that video of her? I think she was at the Globes. I don't know where she was. It was an award show, and there was like a camera guy that like fell, and she went to go like pick him up and everything. It was really sweet. So sweet. Okay, who else?
Yeah, who else?
Number 3.
Okay, so when I thought of my number 3, I thought of 3 and 4 because I just thought of the movie we just watched with both of these humans, and I loved it, and I think it would be fun to be in the space with them.
Okay.
Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer.
Oh my god!
Because we just rewatched that one where they're like superheroes, which is a really
it's
fun
so
movie.
funny.
It's such a good movie.
It's such good. We just rewatched it, and I was just thinking like they would be fun to just like be in a room with.
Yeah.
Because part of what I think about is Kevin being an actor in his acting career, and like who it would be fun for him to act with that I could benefit from. Because it's about me sometimes.
Yeah, of course it is.
And I'm like, and every time we're watching something, I'm like, it'd be so cool if you could act with them.
I will one day.
You will.
I love that. Okay, so that was 3 and 4. So now do I have to do 3 and 4?
Well, the limit was 3. I just did extra credit.
I'll do 3 and 4 as well.
God.
Jackie O.
Okay.
I want to talk to her as well.
Oh. Sorry, Mike. I just hit you with my headphones.
And then what would be number 4? Honestly, it would probably be Ellen Pompeo.
Oh.
I know.
Ooh, but what about Shonda Rhimes too? Like on the other side of that world.
I feel like anybody involved in Grey's Anatomy, like Katherine Heigl, I would love to be
Oh,
Katherine
yeah.
Heigl's friend. Like I just think she is badass and whatever. But yeah,
Wow. The name I just had in my head went away. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to think of a backup now because I'm like, Anna Nicole Smith.
Ooh, yeah.
I just want to like, I know.
we should go to the
Hard Rock.
and do a little seance
In
and
South
see if
Florida.
She can like join.
Yeah, she probably would.
I know. Could we be like,
Hey.
hi, can we book the room Anna Nicole Smith passed away in, please?
That could be a
Probably a
podcast.
thing.
I know, right? I know.
Oh my god, we could record from the room.
I know.
Interesting little seance.
Yeah, like don't mind the ghosts.
Okay, so Luke, tell us real quick, just a little bit about your life since you've become, a little bit famous. So, how's life now?
It's my life is so different in certain ways and the same in a bunch of other ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. TikTok is just such a weird world because it goes from like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And you really never know what's going to take off.
Yeah.
And it's always the ones that you think like aren't. And you're like, should I post this? You post it. And then it's like, it just blows up. And you're like, what? I'm like, what is wrong with people? And then I'm like, I should ask it about myself too.
I love it.
And I do. But my life has just it's been good. My life has changed drastically, especially in the past year.
Yeah.
But it's just been a good learning experience,
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing for me is just trying to remain like it's hard, like just be myself, not
Yeah, sure.
overthinking.
Yeah.
Because that's the best part about
That's
it.
such human nature.
Right.
to
Overthink. Yeah.
I do think that it's cool, and I want to give you some accolades for the raw emotion that you've shown. And the reason that I do is because it's so relatable to people, and it's the one thing that they hide.
Yeah.
So I think that you doing that has probably inspired so many people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had a video recorded after me and my ex had broken up, and I was like, am I going to post this online? Because I was crying and I was like I was a mess, and I was like just basically pouring my heart out, giving my thoughts about what was happening. And I was like, and I sat on it for like a few weeks, and then I was like, no, I'm just going to post it.
Yeah.
And like, whatever. Because you know what? I couldn't find anybody online to relate to about it. I was like, I don't know.
But that's awesome that you thought of
support.
that and you were like, let me do this and tell my story.
Well, and I think that even for people who have like known you, we hadn't talked in a hot minute, but I text you.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah.
When you did that, because I was like, that was, first off, I didn't know that you were kind of going through that, but also I was like, that was so raw and so relatable. And I want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, it was
but
very sweet.
yeah, so that's kind of like this, I don't know, those moments of like, you have a lot of humor, but with humor also comes these real things.
Yeah.
So I just think it's amazing that you did that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate that.
how did people react to that in general?
So good. Like,
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps actually because the messages I got, I was like, oh my God, I was looking for support for me.
Yeah.
And I got more than I could have ever dreamed of.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
awesome.
And it's like,
that.
oh, and it just made me feel like good. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, oh, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I'm not alone here.
Yeah.
I love that. And then when your first TikTok video that blew up, what did that feel like?
Right. That was going to be one of my next questions.
That was so strange. So I was moving. Me and my ex were moving from our house, like one house, to an apartment in downtown St. Pete.
Yeah.
So like Tampa, and we were moving to St.
Which is the
Pete
house that
again.
we went because we went and swam
Yes,
and all that.
exactly.
That house.
So we were moving from there. We had movers like taking all the stuff. I was in my office with my dog. She's scared of the wind. So I had her in my office. She was shaking. I was sitting on the floor. And I had a friend call me and talking about her terrible boyfriend again. And I'm like, girl, same song, same dance. I'm like, different day. She says the same thing. Oh my God, he's so mean, just all this stuff. And I was like, I love you to death, but you need to dump his ass and move on. And if you get back with him, don't call me. Like, I'm over it. I love you.
Okay, I love
You
that.
call me for
I love
everything
that
else.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to, I can't do this anymore. I said, I'm exhausted. I can't even imagine how exhausted you are.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. So if you do get back with him, happy. I want you to be happy, but don't call me.
Like,
Yeah.
leave me alone.
Like,
Thank you.
I'll,
Yeah.
we
Like,
can not, don't call me about that. Like, we can do everything.
Sure.
But I don't want
Yeah.
to hear about
Sure.
it
Yeah.
because you complain like it's the seventh time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, because
exhausted.
you actually can control the situation.
Yeah.
Your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And it can get a little exhausting to be like, girl, we've done this. We've
I
talked
know.
about this. You've
I'm
been
like,
through
it's the
this.
same thing.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm like, oh my God. So then after that, I was just on TikTok. I was with on the floor with my dog, and I was like, if he's doing this, dump his ass. If he's doing this, dump his ass. And then I posted it, and my movers were like, oh, we're done. I was like, okay, so get all the stuff, go to my new place. They move all the boxes in the apartment. The apartment's full of stuff. I sit on the couch. It's probably like 8 hours later, and I'm like, like open up TikTok. I'm like, I guess I'll scroll on TikTok, and instead of unpacking, and it was like 20,000 followers. I was like, what? Whoa, what's going on? And I was like, I know, and I was like, what? And it was like 1 million views on this video, and I was like, oh, I was like, I was like panicking. I'm like, I closed it, and I'm like, I know, and I was like reading comments, and I'm like, oh God. And I closed it, and then I was like, this is crazy. And
you're like, what's happening?
yeah. So then I'm like, I was so tired. I was like, I'm gonna just go to bed, and I don't know what's happening. I'll deal with this in the morning. And I woke up, and I had like 50,000 followers.
Oh my
And I was like,
Lord.
oh my God.
From one video?
Yeah.
That's insane.
And like that's what like
Jesus.
started. And so then I was like, oh my gosh. So then it just kind of I just started building it out from there.
So
Yeah.
how did it feel when you saw Selena Gomez in Taylor
Oh
Swift?
my God. They use that sound.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, my bestie. Yeah. I woke up and that day and I had like text and messages. And I mean, I don't get like I don't wake up to like hundreds of text messages a day. Like, and so I was like, what the hell's going
is
on?
happening?
Like, who
died?
Who died? That's literally what I was like, oh my God. Like, and then I'm like, but why is like a random person that I haven't talked to in like 3 years texting me? Like, I was like, who they didn't know that would die? Anyways, so then I'm looking and it's like E-News. Like I'm getting this like a link to E-News, like talking about how Selena Gomez and Taylor Swift used this sound before they went on SNL. And it was like my sound. And I was like, what? And then I go on my TikTok and people are blowing me like, Taylor Swift, Selena Gomez, use your sound. And I was like, oh my God. And that one, that like, I had like, at that point, I had like probably a little over 1 million followers. And I gained over a span of like a month, like 500,000 followers.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
From that alone.
That is so
Yeah.
insane.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Though,
It
because
doesn't, no.
They're just there following alone. And
Yeah.
their fan base is just so
And it was like,
outrageously
and that's
large.
kind of what pivoted. I mean, not pivoted, but like, because I always did bestie content.
Yeah.
But like that was like, oh, okay, like this is actually a part of me
Yeah.
too. Like as like you know, being kind of like an online bestie. And
Yeah.
that's honestly when like that was like when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh my God, I want to be a bestie of people that feel like they don't have a bestie. And like, you
I love
know,
that phrase, online bestie.
Yeah.
I do too. I think that they're, you know, especially in the way that the internet's gone and certainly relationships online, you have a huge impact on people beyond what you probably even know, which is incredible.
No, and it's fun being on like this side of it for us when we're like, we'll be randomly talking to people and someone will be like, hey, have you seen this guy on TikTok? And we're like,
Lord.
yes, we have.
And it's so funny too. There's even this guy that I really used to be my really good friend in high school, and he was in our wedding and everything, and it's just not a good human. He tried to break us up, but
The same man was in our wedding party, and after our wedding, went to everybody that was at the bar that they went to afterwards, and told them that we never should have gotten married, and that we wouldn't last, and all of this other stuff. So,
horrible dude.
Tommy, if you hear this, go fuck yourself. It's 12 years later. I don't care. I'll call a bitch out.
I was
He's
not
a piece of
going to.
shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
I will get aggressive.
Anyway,
His name is Tommy. I won't say his last name. You can figure that out. It's a very popular name.
it is a very popular
It is.
name. Anyway, he's super shitty, but he shared one of your videos and did like your sound and video. I can't remember exactly what it was, but and then like said something in line with like he wanted to meet you, and I was like, oh Lord. And I'm like,
And it had like just popped up on Kevin's TikTok. So we're like, this is weird. It's like our two different lives of ours, like combining on TikTok. We're like, this is very strange.
but even our niece who you met when we were at the bar the other night, she was like, I love this guy, and I'm like, we know him. She was like, what? And I'm like, oh Lord. It's just funny that
I'm like, yeah, I remember the day that I met you and we were leaving wherever we were, and I saw your Bye Felicia.
Oh yeah. My license plate tag.
And I was like, oh, I like him.
I think I remember you telling you, you were like, there's this really cool guy, Luke. And Luke, the name Luke was my ex was named Luke. Oh. And I was like, what?
I hate him already.
And then I met you and I was like, oh, he changed that. So that narrative's gone, which was awesome. So
I love that.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you're here. So obviously we're a true crime podcast. So what do you feel about murder?
Obviously,
I love it.
I know, like,
What a weird.
I know,
So
like,
exciting.
how do I answer this? It's terrible.
It is. It is
It's
terrible.
something I would not suggest people to do.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
And
yeah.
I would assume all of us would like to not get murdered.
No. So I guess I should have framed that question differently.
Probably.
And do you like true crime as a form of entertainment, like stories on Dateline or
Yes, I love.
2020?
Like, I watched Snapped.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, Snapped
That's
is
a good one.
good.
I know. It's because it's like, because I'm not saying that anyone ever deserves it, but I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes you get that like where you're like, I get it.
Where you're like,
I
yeah, maybe they did.
deserve.
They should not be around to hurt other people.
That's exactly what.
anymore.
And I'm like, no, I don't like. I'm not trying to say like murder's okay, but also,
Yeah.
I'm not upset.
Yes.
Like I don't know.
Like today, I'm not upset that this person
is
was
not
murdered.
The
here.
same with mine.
Yeah.
If you spend your life abusing people,
Yeah, like those people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to shed a tear over that.
no, like you're kind of asking for it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always like to say that murder's not funny, but we are. So we want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And you're the funniest.
And
so
in
great.
today's episode, we really wanted to gear towards Luke's kind of jam.
persona.
So did we even say? We didn't. We didn't
So
say the name of the
I
episode.
didn't, but I'm
in
going to have Luke read it because
Oh my God,
it's gonna be funny. So it's
Okay.
right at the top that says episode, I think 13. So tell us the name.
Avoid murder. Just dump his ass.
All right. So that's the name of the
I
the
love
episode.
it. Yes.
know.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, it's your turn to go first this
so
week.
I'm going to read my story and then Brandon will go and we'll just kind of all talk about it and react. And mine's not as intense, but I do want to share it because this particular woman is actually still in prison. So, and shouldn't be. So I want to.
Oh.
I mean, I think with stories about women killing their abusers, I feel like it's hard for me to think that they should be in prison.
I agree.
To a degree.
Yeah, I would
So-
agree. So, all right. Well, let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Okay. So, friends, my episode, I didn't title this week.
Okay,
which
that's
I
a big
usually
thing for Kevin.
Title it.
He titles them
I know.
like
Every
that's like
episode.
your
Like your bread and butter.
It's like my
what you're
thing.
known for on this podcast.
Great.
So I'm like kind of excited that mine's
like
Yours
you
is
win. You win.
Did you say that mine
for
is
once
better?
once in 13 episodes.
Whatever. Yeah, this is the first time I have not named it, but that's okay.
Maybe we can come up with one.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, so let me give you the premise. Woman is abused. Woman is murdered. Woman is 80 years old when she
Woman was murdered?
Oh no.
I'm like, oh,
Let me reverse.
It's okay.
Yeah. Reverse. Okay.
This is a bad premise.
I know. I was like,
Premise.
I'm out. I'm like, I don't like this.
Abused and then murdered.
I know.
We're done.
Like,
Full stop.
How about I know the premise a little bit. How about it's never too old to kill your abuser?
It's never too old.
It's
or
never
you're never too old.
You're never too old
Okay,
to kill your
love this one.
abuser.
You're never too old to kill your abuser. I just didn't say that right. To kill your abuser. Okay, but premise real quick. Woman is abused all her life. She's 80. She kills her abuser. Okay. Now she's in prison and kind of shouldn't be. So what would you say?
At 80?
Title. That was good. What would you? Yeah, at 80, I know.
Oh my God. I see I'm bad at coming. I don't know why I suggested this because I'm really bad at coming up with titles on the spot.
I know, right?
You know what came to my mind was 80 flirty and thriving, but she's not because she's in prison. So that doesn't work. I know. This poor woman. Ugh. Anyway, okay.
80. How'd she? Okay, we're gonna get into how she killed her. Yeah. Maybe let's do it after after because
I'll give you. It's a pew pew pew.
Yeah,
that's how she. Okay.
Okay. I was like, at first it didn't click. I was like, why did you just randomly do like pew 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 guns? So I was like, is that like, are you okay?
my improv teacher's gonna be pissed because I did a pew 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 instead of like holding an actual,
yeah,
just literally just.
You hold a gun like this.
I don't hold guns, so
I don't know.
Isn't it like?
I don't know.
I
don't even like doing the finger thing.
I know. Like this? Like,
I don't know. Maybe like, is it 2 fingers on the trigger? I think that's too fat. No, I think the hole is not big. Okay.
We need to fit in the hole.
Yeah.
All of the Trump-loving Republicans that are listening to us right now are like, God, these homos don't even know how to hold a gun.
I know.
Also, they're not listening.
I know. That's
also, and also, like, I hope they know this. Also. So when I'm like, they're like, we don't want him drafted. Like, they look at me and I'm like, what is this?
Like, please stay home.
Yeah, like please just don't. Like you're gonna,
or there's just like a fucking army of queer people, and they're just gonna be like, oh my God, they're gonna indoctrinate us. Let's go.
I know. Yeah, I'm like, hurry, run away. They're gonna make us homo.
Right, and we're all like finger snapping down to them, like West Side Story.
Yeah.
With Charlie's Angels poses once we get there. Yes. Let's do it. Jesus Christ. My Lord. Okay, wait. I do have a question for you because we went to the doctor recently.
Okay.
And we had to swab our own anus. Have you?
Oh my God. I did.
Is this new?
I don't. Oh, okay. You want to? Yes. For me, I was like,
same.
Because it was like a giant cute. I said Q-tip, like Q, like gay.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I mean, technically, it's going in your.
And I was like,
yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, is it like how far do I put it up?
That's exactly what
like,
I thought.
And then it had like a thing where it's like it'll break, like you break it off in this thing, right?
I can imagine if you accidentally
so
broke
then I was
it
like,
off.
the whole time I'm like sticking it out my butt. I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna break off into my ass, and then I'm gonna have to like
fish it out,
or be like, can somebody help get it out of my hole?
Excuse me, I need some help.
Help me get it out of my hole, sir.
I failed the assignment.
I know. I was like panicking the whole time. But yes.
Yeah.
No, very
awkward.
It worked.
It was interesting
because I didn't have to do it again. But
oh, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I was negative.
I had to do it every 3 months.
Every 3 months.
Yeah. For my because I get a panel done every 3 months.
Well, that's probably really smart.
It's super smart.
I hadn't gotten anything done in 7 years, but I'm also married.
See, like
done anything.
Not same anymore. So,
but that kind of is fun to explore again.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, that's enough.
Right. And I love that you're like delving into it on your TikTok as well a little bit.
I know.
And every time like Kevin and I are like, oh my God.
I know.
Oh no, there has been. If you were like juicy. Oh, the one that you were when you just got your hair done and you chose to eat and stay at home instead of
getting railed.
And I was like, oh,
I still regret that. I very much still regret that. But he lives in New York. And guess who's going to New York?
Hi. Please let me know how that goes.
Right.
I will.
We'll have a recap episode.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Like,
if you ever if we're not there and you need a place to stay, you're more than welcome to stay at our apartment.
Oh, okay.
By the way, yeah.
Oh wow,
it's on the Upper West Side. Yeah, be fabulous.
It is.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
And we just dove into, well, it was only like a minute. Okay, so title pending.
TBD.
Okay, guys, this is actually more of a recent thing. So it was August 20th of 2020, which we all remember 2020, just like 5 months into the goddamn pandemic.
Yeah, where a lot of abuse started to happen to women in
More
general.
abuse.
Yeah, more.
And this, so August 20th, 2020, and a call comes into the police station in McCook, Nebraska. Which, have you guys been in Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, driven through it. That's really all you. I feel like
driven
you need to.
around it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Nebraska's an interesting state, but I grew up in Colorado, so you know.
Okay.
But anyway, on the phone was a 79-year-old woman calling in to report a disturbance that needed police's attention. So when the police arrived at 807 East 3rd Street in McCook, they discovered a 79-year-old woman sitting in her chair in the living room and a deceased 78-year-old man lying in bed with a gunshot wound to his chest. So this is the story of Lavetta Langdon, a kind and gentle mother of 4 who experienced over 30 years of abuse at the hands of her husband. So it's pretty interesting. Now, I could not find like a ton of information, and it's interesting too because like these bigger murders that get featured on television shows and all that kind of stuff typically, or older ones, will have a lot more juice. This one, there's a lot of like statements from her kids, which I think was really compelling.
Well, that's kind of interesting to hear too.
Yeah. So instead of starting with like the juice, I'm going to start with the murder because it's actually kind of simple in general. But so on August 20th of 2020, Larry, his name's Larry and Lavetta had an argument about money, and Larry struck Lavetta in the face.
Oh my God.
So Lavetta had previously warned Larry that if he hit her again, she'd kill him. So after Larry hit her, she considered murdering him for 30 minutes. And then he went to bed, and she went and grabbed a gun that he literally had just taught her to use 3 days before, and walked into the room where he was sleeping and shot him twice in the chest. So
I get it.
she then, she then walked into another room, sat in a chair, and called the police. And the murder was actually all captured on the home security video, which I think is interesting. And Lavetta was taken into custody without incident, like same day.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, if she's calling in and she's owning up to it, I mean, what else are they going to do?
I just got goosebumps because it's like he spent 30 years.
it was actually technically, so there were reports that said 30 and 50. But
They're in their
with their age,
70 years,
married in 1960. So over 50 years technically of abuse. And the abuse, stuff didn't go too into it, but I do want to share some of the stuff that her daughters are saying. And this is an important case because it is active right now.
Yeah.
Which I'll explain a little bit too. So also spreading a little bit of awareness for this, but she had 4 daughters named Lynn Kinney, Laura Walter, Linda Carlson, and Leanne Rumlin. So that day they were all notified of their father's death. And these are the things that they said. So Lynn Kinney is quoted as saying, "At first I was in shock. I honestly thought it would be the other way around, with the detectives telling me my mom was
that's
gone
heartbreaking.
and it was at the hand of my father." And then,
I mean, that to me, that's really powerful in the sense that the kids obviously have seen a lot that happened in the last 50 plus years.
And then she also said that her mom did her best coping and dealing with the abuse, and that her dad controlled everything and he used his kids as pawns.
Of course he did.
So then another daughter, Laura Walter, was quoted as saying, "When the incident occurred, mom took control of the situation and shot him. I remember being relieved and then worried. What if he wasn't dead? What could he do to her?" Kind of thing. Wow. And then she said, "My father controlled every part of her life, including her finances. She never went shopping or to the doctor by herself. She never had the opportunity to get help because he was always with her." So she said there were times law enforcement got involved, and she recalls, "When I was younger, my older sister called the police, and they did come. My father met them outside, and I saw them talking and laughing. After they left, he came in and started beating my sister. When my mom tried to stop it, he started beating her." So she says, when you see that, you learn what makes him angry, and you learn not to upset him.
See, that's bullshit. And I feel like this is something that we've talked about on the podcast before, where when cops do stuff like that, they're dismissing everything that's happening. So if you're getting called to an abuser's house or alleged abuse, talking to the person who is the issue,
is the abuser.
joking,
The
laughing with
abuser,
them,
yeah.
seeing them as another man. All you're seeing is the man. And I'm sure he was probably talking to them saying that he was keeping everybody in order and this kind of bullshit. And they're like, it's Nebraska. They're all
and at
like,
that
oh,
time,
Good
beat your
old boys,
woman.
good old
Like,
boys
sure.
club.
yeah.
And these are
it's
all
gross.
older. Her daughters are older. I mean, she's 80. So,
Yeah.
and actually at this point, what, 83 probably?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all probably in their 40s, 50s. So they grew up before. And at that time, no. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a man's man, world. And so these cops, they didn't go inside. They did nothing.
Wow.
So
Did they even
another-
talk to any of them?
No.
Or just him?
None of the kids, no one. So another daughter, Linda Carlson, is quoted as saying, we had to be perfect in every way. It was awful. I still have nightmares. My dad beat my mom for reasons like me playing basketball badly. I would get it. My sisters would get it. It was the never-ending story with him. And then she said, my dad threatened to kill my mom many times. One of those times he told her that she had 5 minutes to get all of her stuff or he would kill her. She came to my place and I talked to my sister in Atlanta to send her there. I thought she was going to be safe. Somehow he found out where she was and got her back. Now here we are. So interesting stuff. So a little bit of like history. So I wanted to say the murder first and a couple of that kind of things. Because again, there's not like a ton of juice in general that's shared. But there is one thing that I was like, wow. And that was the abuse. So his name was Larry Langdon. Her name was Lavetta. So in one situation of abuse that Lavetta had shared, which was supported by her daughters, was that Lavetta said Larry forced her to undress and eat dog food in front of their 4 daughters.
What the actual fuck?
Right? I'm like, So she had been undergoing torture. They
Yeah.
say.
It's just so fucking awful.
Well, this is
Yeah.
like
I know.
this makes me so like I'm actually very angry right now because like she, you know what the saddest part about this in my mind is, and she's in prison right now, and this is probably the most peace she's had in a very long time.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's
Yeah.
like, but she's in prison.
Yeah.
Like, it's
But
like
she's in prison.
and
at
the most
80.
like peace she's ever like, and that makes me like sad.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and this is why there was also that case. I can't remember the woman's name, but she killed her abuser when she was 16.
Yeah.
And she's still serving
That is-
right now. And he was
Why?
actively abusing her when she killed him.
Yeah.
So it's like there's this.
Well, and it's hard because when you are in a relationship and you're being abused, the abuser tries to do as much as they can to belittle you and make you feel like shit, to make you feel like you can't go anywhere, but then does those little things here and there that makes you feel really good that you're like, oh, he'll get better. Oh,
Yeah.
he'll do better.
It's
Oh,
the
it's okay.
manipulation, yeah.
It's okay that he just made me eat this because he just did this one nice thing for me.
Yeah.
And they make you feel like you can't leave and that you have to stay in this cycle.
Yeah.
And it's sad for her that she wasn't able to break free from that before,
Well, and here's the thing.
break free from it in a place where she didn't have to do anything like murder. But again, it's where it's that line of,
But-
he kind of fucking deserves it.
He 100%. He deserves it. He deserves it. Okay, like kind of. I'm gonna say
Fuck you, Larry.
I know. Now I'm like every Larry. I'm gonna be
know.
like,
Fuck you, Larry.
like, fuck you. Like, I don't like Larrys anymore. Sorry, Larry. I'm not sorry though.
But if your name is Larry, then
Yeah,
we're good.
yeah. If you're a Larry,
Larry,
okay. If you're a Larry,
Yeah, you gotta
yeah,
give the
if you're
little
Larry.
hands like,
yeah. If
the
you're a
Larry.
Larry, if you're a Larry, that's okay. If you're a Larry,
Yeah.
no, but seriously,
Larry.
fuck you. I'm like that. Like, and it's sad too because women have always had to deal with men and take the brunt for
Yeah.
men's poor actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just another example of that.
Yeah.
Like, she had to endure all of this. She got out. She was that. I mean, that's in my mind the only way that it would stop. I feel like at that point is him being dead.
Yeah.
So like,
oh, absolutely.
like
And-
what else is
and
she
she-
supposed to do? I don't understand.
Yeah, and she endured it for that long. And she's, I mean, technically 80. I mean, yeah, you can live significantly, longer than that, but that's end of life for a lot
Yeah.
of people. So,
And people will be like, well, she could have gone to the police. Yeah, well, look how that happened. She that happened before at one point,
Yeah.
right?
She
And
did.
She
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the okay. So here's the thing. So, kind of back to the abuse, and I'll jump to that too. But so mom and kids had beatings regularly. So all 4 of her girls and her, the kids remember the sound of the belt, and her mom screaming.
It's so traumatizing.
I know. They said that their mom would hide bruises, but eventually she'd go to work with black eyes and chunks of hair missing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is really like,
Like
This is
that's
really
a lot
dark.
to
I
like
know.
rip someone's hair out.
know.
That's a lot of force.
like a person like that doesn't need to be alive.
No.
No.
Like he.
Agreed. Yeah. So the girls would hear him at night beating the shit out of their mom, but they were so afraid of him that they couldn't do anything. So he also threatened to kill Lavetta in front of the girls. They remember being scared all the time. And then they're saying that their dad already gave her a life sentence with the abuse that she
100%.
Yeah. And if you hear hammering in the background, there's something going on outside.
Yeah, that's really annoying. I've been like trying to be like, what the fuck?
I
is that
thought it was
noise?
a dog barking at first.
I
I'm
did
like,
too.
"No, that's a hammer."
Who's hammering it in the back of your building?
That's a great question.
There's always something happening.
Something. So I think that it's very valuable. Okay, so I think that the daughters describing all this stuff is really valuable because there's so much truth. I think that comes from their experience as witnesses to this. So the daughters actually describe him as a monster. That
Sorry, I'm not. I don't mean to.
What are we doing?
I looked at him because
I keep looking
goddamn
back.
hammering. I know.
Yeah.
Is it a hammer?
Oh, now
no,
it
it's
stopped.
Motherfuckers. Okay, fine. All right. So daughters describe. No, you're.
There it is.
There it is again.
I know it's a man being annoying.
It is
I
a
just
man.
know it's a fucking man back there, like hammering some shit that he shouldn't fucking touch.
And then he's like,
Go away. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do like.
I spent Sunday morning.
Of course,
with
it's he's
Jesus
fucking
and
annoying.
hammers.
Like we're trying to do gay shit here,
Right.
Yeah,
and we're trying to like talk about a serious topic, and then we have this guy in the fucking background,
Right.
being annoying.
Like, shouldn't he be at church? Isn't it Lord's Day?
What's today? Oh, it's
know, it's
Sunday.
Sunday.
It is Sunday.
It's Jesus Day.
Oh my god, I thought you said something else.
What'd you think I said?
Jesus, jizz.
Oh,
Jesus.
jizz. I love that more. I just say Jesus.
I was like, what is jizz us day? I'm like, oh Jesus.
Jesus
I was like,
Day. What a gay term, Jesus. Have you ever heard of? Okay, there is this macaroni called cheeses, which are like little macaroni Jesuses.
No.
Cheese called cheeses. I actually was gonna make it as a gag gift, and then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, it's already been made.
Yeah. We thought we were
like,
clever
"Oh,
and we weren't.
I thought
damn.
it was so smart. Anyway, okay, so daughters describe him as a monster, that he was born with evil and embraced it, which is a powerful statement. And at one, so they're recalling memories. One remembers going outside and playing in her sandbox and hearing her mom crying. So she went inside to see what was going on, but immediately was spanked by her dad and sent back out. And then another remembers very few days that there wasn't violence in their home. Could you imagine?
No.
Like just. So they also said vacations, which are supposed to be a relaxing time, are also really bad. They remember once going to the zoo and Larry had one of the younger sisters on his shoulders and was looking at the hippos. And then he took that sister off his shoulders, hung her over the railing while the other sisters cried and screamed and were scared. He thought it was hilarious.
Of course he did. They all fucking do.
Yeah. So
God,
they're
what
like, he had a real sick humor and he found a lot of joy in their trauma.
Like, that's not funny.
no, and that's like sickening.
Yeah. Like, these children, I'm sure, are traumatized from all of this. And I really hope that they have been able to work through a lot of this because I'm sure their mistrust in men is very high
Absolutely.
due to
Well
the fact
warranted.
that their father was just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And well
agreed.
warranted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
So anyway, they said that he was really good at knowing the best way to torture people, which is horrible. So he abused all the kids. None of them were immune to his wrath and anger. There was another incident where they were on their way to a basketball game, and another sister of one of the other sisters, and he was irritated with them being loud in the car. So he pulls the car over, grabs one of the girls out, pulling her out of the car, and then threw her up against the car. Fortunately, another car drove by and started yelling at him.
Good.
Good.
And
Good for
so
them.
He stopped, threw her back in the car, and drove off. And so the teachers weren't typically aware in general until one of the sisters went to school with a mark, and people started to know something because they started slowly slowing up with shit. So their dad was big into sports, and if any of the girls didn't play well, it did not go well for them at home. So he gave one of the sisters a black eye. She went to school, and the teacher was like, okay.
enough.
So that sister, Linda, was taken from the home, but it was only her.
What?
And I have experience with this because when I was younger, I went through a severe abuse and I went to foster care, which is why I ended up getting adopted. They only took my older sister out. and left us two.
Because the abuse is only happening to one.
Yeah,
like
why?
that makes absolutely no sense.
I think that they go through this period of like, do I believe the child and do I test it out and whatever? But instead of they remove that one,
and then they just kind of leave the other one there. It's
yeah,
like,
to deal with more,
like a pawn.
I don't know. And it's interesting too because when I left and went to foster care, I was probably between 4 and 6. I don't really remember. I went to foster care, and my sisters, older sister Cassie went. My sister Kimberly and I went, and then I was separated to an all boys orphanage, and then they were sent back to the home
where they were being abused.
Yeah, and then they went back, and then my mom lost her rights, and my dad signed him away and all this shit. But it was our stepdad that she had married, and we lived in a home. My biological mom's deaf. And so the guy that she married, Michael, was also deaf. And so we lived in this deaf home, which is interesting. And so oftentimes, I don't know what it was, but the sexual trauma, there was just a lot that was kind of in there.
Yeah.
And they should have never went back. But so but it's interesting that they took one out. But here's what's interesting about these guys too, is that when Linda was taken from the home, she was the only one that was taken, and she was only gone for a short time and brought back.
She was brought.
Isn't that crazy?
What So can people not be held accountable for? I'm curious about this.
I don't know. I feel like there's a level of rehabilitation, right, that they allow for parents, which I do think is fair.
To a degree,
Yeah.
It depends on the case. I think
It does. And you're not rehabilitated, probably within a month.
Yeah, and that guy's. From the sound of it, he was way past that.
Yeah.
Did they know that? No, but
Probably
they
not.
should have done more investigation.
And what this was maybe in the probably 70s.
Which is
which is now I'm sure it's different. I would hope it's different. But even I was in that one in the early 90s. So, and it wasn't that different then. And I'm not sure it is as much now because interesting. So anyway, now on their mom, Lavetta. So she's actually described as such a Larry. What the fuck? Such a caring.
We're thinking about Larry.
I know.
Larry. We don't like you, Larry.
Yeah, Larry. Fuck you. So anyway, Lavetta. So described as a very caring individual, and that she would do anything for her girl. She was really funny and smart, loving, just a really kind human. And she would act as the buffer between him and the girls. And so obviously as that, she would get a lot of abuse and would try to
Which is so sad, but I feel like if I was in her place, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah. So she actually, they actually say she actually really loved and cared for Larry. She loved him deeply. So her killing him, that was really never an option. But obviously by the time she was there, that was kind of the only option. And so leaving their dad. So she tried to find ways to escape the situation, but her resources were obviously limited because he controlled everything. Mm-hmm. She didn't have money. So her daughters reached out to the police several times, but no one would help in general. So Lavetta said that she did reach out to law enforcement multiple times throughout the years, but they did not help her. At one time, she divorced Larry. And fled to Georgia, which, remember, that daughter was like, let's get you to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that was that. So her daughter said that they feared that he would find her and kill her. He ended up finding her, and that was why she was with him again. So during one incident, she called the police, and they came, but they never walked to the front door. Larry met them at the front step and told them everything was fine, and they turned around and left. So multiple situations of them not even going inside.
Of the system
and talking to the people who are reporting.
Failing.
Yes. Yeah. Multiple times failing.
Yeah.
So the arrest and the trial. So obviously she was arrested that day. So trial happened, all this kind of stuff. She actually took a plea agreement for involuntary manslaughter so that she would have a low amount of years that she would get.
Really?
Yeah. So the prosecution asked for 8 to 12 years. That is almost what she got. So her daughters have said that they felt the monster was gone now, but now that their mom has to pay the price. In general. So they also say that it was all self-defense, not what she wanted to do, but she reacted to a situation that she felt she had to do something. And they said it was a fight or flight, and she decided to fight.
Yeah.
So she actually shot him in his sleep. And one of the daughters says, duh. should she have waited until he was beating
I
her or
know.
strangling
Right.
her again? Of course it was
Right.
him.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, because as you're saying this, I'm thinking of the fact that like, say you have an intruder in your home, right? You have an intruder coming in,
yeah.
you can legally shoot and kill them and be fine.
Sure.
But what if the intruder lives in your home already?
Yeah.
Where's the line of like, I'm getting my ass beat for
Yeah,
this many years?
I think it's a legal system that is structured to benefit men.
100%.
Yes, 100%.
It's built
That's
upon
yeah.
misogyny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and women are supposed to be, or the men are the dominants, and they're the ones that are supposed to be taking the lead, and the women just have to just comply and be whatever they want, and it's such a fucked up.
Which and I'm on an advocate as I think that the female gender, or just women in general, are the dominant species. I think that that's why men have tried to take so much.
Oh yeah,
away
for
from
sure.
them.
I mean,
Because they are. I think that they look at what their bodies.
Yes,
incredible.
it's insane, and men just take advantage of it, and they have,
fuckers,
and it will continue
Fucking
because
men.
that's the society we're in.
and we are men.
100%. I know.
But ridiculous.
I mean, I can tell you right now, like women are more in every aspect possible. I grew up with my two sisters and my mom, so like seeing them, I'm like, oh my god, like they could do everything I could do, but better.
Exactly.
Like
100%.
they're just like better. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
but like I don't take offense. I'm like, it's so cool. Like
I
it's just
prefer
like
that.
I know.
I feel like as a human, being supported by women lifts me up beyond
God,
anything I
yeah.
could
Yeah.
ever do on my
I mean,
own.
even with our
it's just-
agency, we have a team of all women, and it's not because that we didn't have any men that weren't good for the. Actually, no, we didn't have any good men for the role. It was only women who happened to be good. And now that we have a staff of all women, we're like, if we bring on a man, I'm nervous to bring on a man that's
Yeah.
going to have this ego, have this mentality that he's going to come in and tell everybody what to do and make all of this. So it's even in the workplace, it's the male dominance can be such an abusive kind of
Well, and I
situation in
think that
general.
There's a male fragility, I think, is a very major thing, right? People are so offended by successful, powerful women.
Yes.
And I think it's so
And
bizarre.
threatened.
Yeah. I
and
think
even
it's so bizarre.
and even women that don't hold like positions of power, like men are still, threatened by them.
Yeah.
And
and
I think that
it's-
they're sexual objects, which is like, even as a gay man, a man is not a sexual object to me, right? They're just humans with dicks, and I like dicks. But they're like,
You do?
very
Oh my
much.
God.
Oh my god, do you hear that, husband of his?
All the dicks.
He's
No,
a salute.
I'm not a salute anymore. I was a salute.
You were a salute?
Now I'm. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Mama had fun.
Oh.
For sure.
Mama had fun.
Before I met Brandon, I had a plethora of dicks.
Oh,
Like
All
that's
safe,
why I have a
though.
back brace. I'm just kidding.
That's amazing.
that TMJ
Anyway.
didn't come from anywhere.
No. Okay. Back to it. So, July 2021, Lavetta was sentenced 8 to 10 years in prison for this involuntary manslaughter, which is like the max, basically. I know. So here's
That's
what's
so annoying.
and here's what's interesting. Larry's brother, Eugene Langdon, was quoted as saying, "I know what my brother was like, and he was not a nice person. He had a dual personality. He had a public personality, and he would make people think he was high, mighty, and a great person. You take him back home, and he was the monster you hear about in your closets. I feel like when you live through years of hell, which Lavetta did, it is very heartbreaking for her to go through more years of hell."
Yeah. You have his actual brother.
Yeah.
Like that's his brother.
Literally saying he is a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. And the justice system still fails.
Yep.
Again.
You have all of his immediate family saying, "Hi, he's an abuser."
Yeah.
So you don't believe it?
No. So her daughter Linda said, "I wish my mom can spend the rest of her of the time with her family because she deserves it," and that, which I agree with. Her daughter Laura said that she has already served her life sentence. To have her spend any more time in jail just doesn't seem right. And then they said, if someone is being abused, I hope they find the courage to ask for help. If they don't, or if they do reach out for help, I hope someone helps. I just want people to reach out and help one another, which I think is a great time for your PSA.
Yeah. PSA. I mean, dump his ass. But
Yes. It's hard
so
though.
there's so many layers to that. And I know whenever I speak on it, it's like, hey, dump his ass, which is a lot easier said than done.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And I want to recognize that, especially in these situations, it's something that people have to prepare for, that they a lot of times have to do meticulously.
Agreed.
And a lot of times we see situations like she had before where she did try to reach out for help and the system fails. And I think that it's something that needs to be recognized. And I think that we have to do better. I don't know how that looks.
Yeah.
And that's what frustrates me the most. It's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know.
Well, and it's frustrating because to like a normal person, you wouldn't think of abusing somebody in general. So it's like, what do you do in a sense? Because depending on the type of abuse, it could be dangerous to stay. It could be dangerous to leave. And it's kind of up to the person to try to find that support system to get out of there, because our justice system isn't there for them. It's not going to help.
Our justice system. That's the thing with the justice system. It's still to this day fails.
Yeah,
It does.
And I don't see much happening there with changing it. And like, I don't know, as a person, I'm like, what do I do? I don't know. I need to figure out more around ways like me as a person can help my day to day. And I don't know if it's like certain, like helping out women's shelters.
I think being present for the humans in our life, particularly women in our life, or those who identify as women, that being there for them and knowing that we are the safe space to be able to help them get out of something. What's difficult for Lavetta's case is that, they did try and the system failed, but she was so controlled. Like, she didn't have access to money. She didn't have access to anything.
And there's a lot of people that are in that situation.
Yes, there are. So it's like, what can you do to really reach out and try to get the help that you can? And I think, unfortunately, people end in this, right? Where they kill their abuser and then their life is taken from them. Yeah. And it was their only option.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to say somewhere I found a statistic where it was like an abnormally large percent of people who have killed their abuser end up in prison.
Yeah. It's up.
But yet the person who was the abuser got away with so much, and it's
for years.
Yeah. It's one of those lines when it comes to what we speak on this podcast, where it's like, where's the line of the okay and not okay, and who is to judge what somebody's experience was to tell them that they did the right or wrong thing when they thought their own life was in danger?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so where it is today. So this was, so as you, did you sneeze?
I
okay
coughed
over there?
and I said, sorry.
Honey.
I'm sorry.
What are you choking
dare
on?
you have
My own saliva.
Oh, okay. I was like, he's over here like, what are you choking on?
know,
He's like,
it
my
was-
saliva. I know. It's like, oh,
I was being all sexual.
I
And
know.
like, you nasty
He's like-
little. And he's like, my saliva.
Yeah.
I'm so sexy.
Disgusting. So anyway, if you recall, she was sentenced in July 2021, so to 8 to 10 years. So fast forward to December 2023, which just happened. Lavetta's lawyer has requested for a commuted sentence. And so the pardons board, they were holding the hearing and then decided to postpone the hearing. And so Governor Jim Pillen seconded the motion of Attorney General Mike Hilgers to table the application for Lavetta's commutation request. They agreed that more information would be needed to make a fair and just decision regarding her sentence. So they didn't say no, but they said, like, we need a little bit more information. So the pardons board did confirm that they would make a statement during the next hearing before they make a decision. And apparently that is supposed to happen sometime in January 2024, where we're in right now. So,
And this episode airs on January 30th, so I'm hoping by our next episode we might be able to give a little update.
Yeah. But I did want to share a couple of things because I think this is valuable. So the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence, their phone number, 1-800-537-2238. And then, of course, you can go to nrcdv.org or www.vawnet.org. But then also the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233 or 1-800-799-SAFE, S-A-F-E. So, and that website is thehotline.org. So, anyway.
I just, if you're in that situation, I encourage you to make a plan.
Yes.
Reach out to them.
Yeah.
Yes. Track everything. Document everything that happens. Anything that they do to you. Anything that happens.
And if you have a cell phone, set up a camera. I don't know.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere if you.
I just like.
I realize in those moments it's probably not easy, but just shitty. These fucking men, man. Okay. Anyway, so that's the story, guys, of Lavetta.
Poor thing.
Langdon.
Maybe we can make it. You're never too old to kill his ass.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. There is one thing because I did find a lot of these quotes via this company called RA Productions. There's actually a video of the story of Lavetta Langdon on Facebook.
Oh.
So, it's her daughters that are talking about the
that's
case, which I thought was really cool. Yeah. So there was a change.org that they had started to get signatures to get her to be submitted for to be commuted.
Where can we get that? I would like to.
Yeah.
I mean, can I sign that?
Yeah,
I want to sign it.
I'll put it onto our show notes. Yeah, in the description on YouTube.
Okay, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, because I think it's important, and this woman does not deserve to be in prison.
No.
At all. That motherfucker deserved what he got, and probably more. And I can't believe that it took her that long, as an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah,
I feel
finally.
but I mean, get it. I mean,
Yeah, I know. I mean, she clearly did not want to kill him. If she did, she would have done it in 1962.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
after he
put
abused her for 2 years.
all the blame is on him.
Yes. It's always.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so these are the moments where morality and law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just is. It's difficult.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's only going to get worse with my episode. I
how's your
keep
head?
doing this. I
I
keep
know.
hitting my head.
on
them
you
stands.
want to keep looking at Luke's gorgeous face.
I was gonna say, I was like, my big tits, and then you're like, gorgeous face. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
That
what it
too.
is. I know.
I have that as well.
They're just, they're so big.
You have great luscious breasts.
I know. I love mine. I actually love mine.
Do you really?
Yeah. Her name
I
is
wanna
Tina. And
love
this is
mine.
Esmeralda.
Tina and Esmeralda.
I love it.
They're really cute.
I don't love mine.
What?
I know. I should.
You should.
You need to self. You need to embrace.
titties.
Yeah. They're like
No.
the girls are girling.
Girls are girling.
Like,
Just boom, boom, boom.
I know, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Look at
little
these nips.
cha-chas. I know. And my nips are okay. My nips are always hard.
Mine are
Fun fact
too.
about
Same
me.
with Kevin.
What is that? I mean, I don't mind it, but I'm like, I was sitting in Mexico and I was like sunbathing. I was like, sunbathing. Like the sun is beaming down. It's like 90 degrees. I'm laying out there. And my nipples are hard as rock.
In the sun?
In the sun.
I don't know that happens. Maybe it happens to me. I had
was
mine
like-
pierced at one point.
Oh.
And it was amazing. And I had gorgeous little pierced little nippies. But
I feel like it'd be hard to sleep with those.
no, it was okay. I don't know that they ever healed in the 4 years I had them.
Oh my God.
They were
I
just
know.
very sensitive.
And they were so I could you could touch them and I would immediately be hard. Boom.
Oh.
It was weird.
Oh.
Yeah. Not now. But we were in the shower
can't
one day.
stand.
I know.
I'm not used to it being here.
Anyway, stop ruining my story.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
It's okay.
No, but I ripped one out with a towel.
I'm gonna throw up.
I was there
I'm
and I was like,
the pain of that makes me like, the thought of the pain of that makes me like,
yeah.
It was
I'm cringing.
horrible. And when I pierced them, your nipples are connected, I think, because I pierced one and this one was like, and it was so hard. And getting it pierced was was the most painful thing ever, but also kind of erotic. It was weird.
Masochist.
I know. But ripping that one out. And then this one almost ripped out. And then I just eventually just took it out, which stuck, but stunk. My nipples are not the same though. They're a little
really?
bit. Yeah, they're fine, but they're.
It's because they healed and they healed.
Yeah, they. Oh, I
Like
just did
crooked.
it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Y'all are just running into these
I
mics.
know. But I.
And right, he just
I know.
made fun of me for it.
Yes, my nipple kind of looks like.
Like a finger nub.
Yeah, it's here's your nip, right?
Okay.
There's your little nip, and then there's a little bump on the side from the.
Okay,
ring.
so like a little camel action.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
like a camelback. Like
Yeah.
a camel.
Yeah.
hump.
Yeah.
Okay. A double hump.
Boop.
Boop,
Yeah,
boop, boop.
it's interesting. So they're so
Mount-
cute, but
Mount, like
anyway,
yeah.
I know.
Say like the Grand
Big old
Tetons.
I love the Grand Tetons.
I know, and do you know that's French for the tits.
I did not know
I
that.
think that's where that's what I was told. So I don't know though. I'm a man, so don't believe a lot of what I say I know about because we
the Grand Tetons.
Yeah.
Because I heard it once and
I
I'm
heard
going
it,
with it.
I'm running with it. So,
God.
but I heard that came from
I didn't know that.
It said like the three tits or something.
the three tit, which I haven't been to the Grand Tetons in quite a while. but we would go to Yellowstone quite a bit, and we would pass through. Yeah,
That was my favorite trip I took this past year.
Did you? Oh yeah, you did go there.
I drove from Utah, Salt Lake City. I got a convertible, and I drove
how
to.
fun.
I know.
Were you
and I drove to
alone?
Jackson. Yeah, I did it the whole. Yeah, it was so
Luke,
fun.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna go do this. I'm
Hell
gonna do
yeah.
it.
I feel like I
And-
remember seeing a video of you in Yellowstone, right?
Yeah, I didn't go to Yellowstone because I love the Tetons so much. I was just exploring by
Did you?
Jackson.
Jackson Hole.
Jackson
That's
Hole.
where you were. Yes.
Jackson
Okay,
was,
okay.
and it was so pretty. I'm gonna do it again
never
this
been.
year.
Yeah,
It
you
was
haven't
so.
been.
I was
Jackson
like,
Hole's gorgeous.
pulled over, and I was like crying in
Were
my
you?
convertible because I was like, I'm like, this is the first time. It was like a turning point in my like breakup.
Oh.
It was like this first time like I'm spending time with myself and I'm
Yeah.
actually enjoying.
Oh, I
And
love
those
that.
are really, I think, incredible moments.
Well, they're powerful moments.
Yeah, and Brandon and I are a little bit separate. We're not separated, but we're a little bit separate right now because I've been in New York and
Yeah.
Brandon's been here. I mean, it's difficult, but there's an element of exploring who you are again alone,
Yeah.
which I think is healthy.
Oh,
I-
for sure.
I do actually think it's
Yeah.
healthy for people. And regardless of if you're in a breakup or not, I do think that alone time is severely important. So,
I agree.
yeah. Anyway, I wish that Lavetta had alone time.
All right.
Well,
I know.
yeah, not in
Sort of
prison.
Abusive. Yeah, no, not in prison. But anyway. Okay, friends, that was my story.
Nice. Fuck you,
Lavetta.
Larry.
Lavetta.
Yeah, fuck you, Larry.
I know, fuck you, Larry. But also, I do hope that there's a great outcome for Lavetta and
too.
sending her our love to her daughters.
Yes.
Seriously,
They did not ask us to do this episode. I just found it and felt compelled to share the story.
Yeah.
So
I
Well,
just
thank
got
you.
goosebumps again because it's just.
Yeah.
I know.
Well-
Love you, Lavetta. Go girl.
I know we're rooting for you.
All right, Brandon, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, slut, let's do it.
Oh my god! Wow.
So my story today is on Sarah Gonzales-McLinn.
Sarah.
Right. So the episode that I titled is "A Story Written in Blood." So, okay. So Sarah Gonzales-McLinn was born July 9th, 1994 in Topeka, Kansas.
Topeka, the
right?
capital of Kansas.
Right. I love that. I don't love any of this, but both of our stories come from like the middle of nowhere, USA,
Yeah,
Nebraska.
Texas, and Kansas is the worst state to drive through, by the way.
It is really
Really?
It's
is
so
awful.
boring.
It's so
It is
boring.
so
and
boring.
every sign is like, no abortion, and we love Trump, and Jesus saves, and it's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a conservative's dream. It is not a gay man's dream.
Okay.
Correct.
I mean,
Don't
that's definitely
drive
not my
through.
dreams.
No, it's not on my
I don't want to
bucket
talk
list.
about my dreams, but
It's definitely not that.
last night was.
Well, now you have to tell us about your dream last night.
I mean, I have very vivid dreams. I remember all my dreams too.
Do you really?
I do. Yeah.
What?
So
I
like,
love that because I don't.
yeah, so my dreams and like because I haven't been able to be a little slut recently, my dreams have been very sexual,
Hot and heavy.
very hot, and very.
They've been very aggressive.
They've been very aggressive.
tell
I'm like,
us
oh my god, it's not
one.
even a fantasy of mine. Why is this like? I'm like, oh god.
Your mind goes crazy when it's,
It does. Yeah, I know.
You're like, it's not a fantasy, but maybe it is now.
I know. I'm like, add it to my fantasy. I'm like, turn all these pages. I'm like, I'm so annoyed.
So wait, tell us one spicy tidbit from the dream. Just one.
I was bent over.
Luke.
I know. I
Bent
was
over what?
a pool table on a yacht.
Ooh.
And
Oh.
but it was weird because I
on
was
a
thinking,
yacht.
I was on a yacht. I was like, how do you play pool? I
Right?
asked him,
Doesn't the balls like
and you know what I said in the dream? I said, why is there a pool table on a yacht? Like, this doesn't make sense. And he's like, your mouth, he's like, don't give me that mouth or something. And I was like, I'll give you a mouth. And then it was so, I was like, oh my God. And then I woke up and I was like, it's like silence. My cat is like licking his leg, like up in the air. I'm like, and I was like, well, my day is getting started.
back to reality.
Yeah. I was like, I never got my place, but my dreams are so weird like that. Like, why, I was like, why is there a pool table on a fucking yacht?
right? And I like how like you were
That's really
logical about
interesting.
it too, not the fact that you're like, I'm gonna go with this. No.
Yeah.
Why is there a pool table?
Yeah.
I love your dreams. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're. I mean, if I should talk about them sometime because every single dream I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, what the hell was that?
I love it.
Yeah. Anyways, go on. I'm sorry.
I was not shooing you. That was a bug. I was like,
Yeah, he's
"Move
like,
on."
stop it already.
He's like, no. I honestly didn't even catch that. I don't take on cues very well ever. So even if you were like, move on, I'd be like, why are you waving at me? I'm like,
You're like, hi. We've been together for
are you
hours
trying
already.
to like slap my tit? Like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Oh my God.
I love it.
That was hilarious. Okay. Thank you for sharing that moment.
Yes, I love it.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right, Bran.
Right. Now it feels weird to talk about Sarah being homeschooled as a young child, but she was.
Okay. Same.
As many noted, she was pretty sheltered and naive. But growing up, she had a sister and a disabled younger brother, which she often was in charge of taking care of. So at a young age, her parents got divorced. And sometime in the process, and I saw this in a few different sources, but I didn't see what age she was and what actually happened. But during the process of getting the divorce, a neighbor of theirs raped Sarah. I didn't get much information, but she was sexually abused when she was really young. So, but in this time, Sarah started to feel very alone and unwanted through her parents' divorce. And she felt very isolated, which in turn caused a lot of tension in her family and tension between her and her parents.
Yeah.
So this tension caused Sarah to act out a little bit. So she started to party and drink, and she desperately tried to look for her way out at a really young age. At the age of 14, Sarah got a job at one of the most disgusting pizza places around, Cece's Pizza.
Okay.
Wait a second.
I haven't been there in a long
I hate it.
time.
It's so gross.
I love how you had to ask.
I did.
Ask.
I
You had
did.
to ask that in there. Sorry.
Because
you know what's on my mind. Go on.
because it's where she met the owner, a 48-year-old man named Harold, who is a sleazebag. And so
okay.
I think of like, it's a disgusting pizza place. Of course, he would own a couple Cece's pizzas.
Well, I'm
because
gonna
it's so
be
gross. Don't tell me you like Cece's.
I don't, but I do. Okay. Yes and no. I like their dessert pizza.
Oh my God, I was just
Okay.
thinking that.
Yeah.
The dessert pizza with like the cinnamon, like oh my God, literally.
But that was about.
Put it in and around my mouth.
Yeah. I would lick it.
I mean, same.
Several things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, their dessert pizza was always really, really
I went there
delicious.
once and it was like, all the pizza was cold and it was
Cold
just
pizza can
awful.
slay.
But it was,
I agree with
it
that.
was, I hated it.
Okay. Well, I haven't been there in a long time,
Fair.
so
Maybe we'll give it another try. Maybe we'll do an episode
at a
at
CC's.
Cece's Pizza.
We'll invite you back. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Let's go to CC's and do
no,
an episode.
because I won't stop eating. Like, look, we have to record the episode. I'm like,
I love it. So again, this is where she ends up meeting the 48-year-old owner, Harold Sasko.
gross.
Yeah. From what I've read about Harold, he was the definition of a creep. He presented himself as a devout Christian.
Oh my-
There it is.
I know.
There it is.
Oh my God, I'm so shocked.
And
Yes.
and was known to tell people at the restaurant to only hire young, attractive girls. Creep.
So wait, this was an owner of a CC's pizza.
Yes, he owned 2 Cece's Pizzas for that I saw. So
He was a lovely, devout Christian man that said only hire
yes,
little.
yeah, and I
gorgeous
also
girls. Yeah.
I also saw that he was a partier, and his house was always stocked with alcohol, weed, cocaine, and ecstasy.
Yeah, sounds very Christian. to me.
It did say the occasional cocaine and ecstasy,
The
but
occasional.
very Christian. Amen, Jesus.
Yeah.
Here's my
Jesus
ecstasy.
approved.
Jesus.
Yeah. So after some time, Sarah and Harold got pretty close. So close, she thought of him as a parental figure, and she even called him dad occasionally, and he would call her his daughter. Which, again, at this time, she is 14. He's 48. Something like that. So
Okay.
So throughout the next couple of years, Sarah moved on to other jobs, but they always stayed in touch, and their relationship kind of grew. By the age of 15, Sarah was again violently assaulted by a family friend. Yeah, she had a pretty hard childhood. This attack ended up leaving Sarah with severe PTSD, which caused her to have flashbacks and nightmares. In this attack, Sarah was pushed onto a coffee table, which then broke the coffee table, and she was burned with cigarettes and eventually raped.
Oh my.
Yeah. This story is pretty rough. So this unfortunate event caused Sarah to become suicidal, which ended up being hospitalized for a short period.
Which
of time.
there are some statistics out there that equate some like pretty severe early age child abuse and sexual abuse with suicidal ideation.
Yeah.
And so it is pretty common.
It is. Yeah.
That is something that, which
Yeah.
of course.
So at the age of 17, Sarah was able to actually graduate early from Topeka High School. And she needed to find out where her next move was going to be since she wanted to get away from her family. So thinking about who she knew she got in contact with Harold, and he offered her to move into his apartment, and he said that he would take care of her.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he said he would show her a better life and pay for her to go to college. At this time, she was 17 and he was 50.
And I bet you one of the one of the first things he was like, accept Jesus into your life.
Yeah. So her mother obviously tried to contest her living there, which only caused some more strain on their relationship. Her mother was even quoted saying, she'd say he's a Christian man. He prayed on that whole Christian thing with her. He wanted to rescue her from her broken home. And then Sarah is also quoted in a Kansas Reflector article to even say, when I moved into the house, I had no idea what was in store for me. I truly did think of him as a father figure to me. I had no idea. So at first, it was your typical roommate situation. Sarah paid rent, bought her own food, and things were pretty equal. But after some time, he started to get a little controlling and tried to gain control of almost everything Sarah did. Eventually, after 6 months, Sarah turned 18, and Harold started to get a bit creepy. He would often tried to get her to drink, smoke, and partake in other party drugs. He even told Sarah that he loved her and he wanted to be with her.
Oh no!
In her words, she tried to she shut it down, but Harold didn't stop and he kept going. So Harold loved the feeling. He loved the feeling of feeling like he had power over Sarah. Gross. He even started to write down everything that he had bought and spent on her since she had moved in, and presented her a tab of what she owed him. He told her that she wouldn't be able to leave his home until she paid him back for everything. Yeah.
What?
So it's this idea of making her feel trapped. And she's very young. She doesn't understand all of this. So he threatened her with legal action and the possibility of homelessness, and she believed him. So he's grooming. He's making her feel like she can't leave. He's
gaslighting.
Stuck.
He's manipulating. He's controlling.
And he had been grooming since they met when she was, 14?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at this time, Sarah was working at Bed Bath & Beyond, and she only made minimum wage. So hearing this made her feel like she could never leave. She wouldn't be able to ever pay him back, even though she was giving him all of her money at this point. So she was basically giving him her paycheck every week. So eventually, Harold started to demand sex from her to continue to live there. Being at such a young age and her past traumas, Sarah complied, although she is quoted to say, I was very crushed the first time this happened, and I felt completely helpless at this point.
Did he know about her previous experiences with rape? And all
Yes.
that?
Well, because he said, at the rape when she was 15, she told him about that, and that's why he said he would protect her. Come move in with me, I'll protect you. Yeah.
When really he was like, my next one. Yeah.
So every time Harold would assault her, she would get drunk and high just to get through the trauma of it. Harold also started to get on her about her appearance. First, it started with her nose. He thought she needed a nose job. And so he made her get a nose job, and he paid for it. Oh my God. The $6,000 bill was then added to her tab.
I was going to say, then he probably added it to her fucking tab.
Yep. Then he went for her figure, her actual, the figure of her body. He thought she was not curvy enough, and he wanted her to be a curvier Barbie. And he even told her that no man would find her attractive because of her breasts, because her breasts were not big enough and her butt was not big enough.
I bet all this time he looked like the bottom of my shoe, too.
100%.
Yeah.
Fucking shitbag.
Ugly little fucking bitch.
Yeah. Right. So at the trial, she testified in saying, I think more than anything, he made me feel he owned me. I was a toy to him, like his personal Barbie doll. That's what he tried to make me.
And that's 100% what he was doing purposely.
Yeah. So he told her he wanted her to get her boobs done. And luckily, when they went to the doctor said that she was too young. However, the doctor ended up giving her butt implants instead. Oh, okay. Because apparently she was not too young to get her butt implants done.
And wait, did she get like a BBL?
Essentially, yeah.
Because I heard a BBL
Brazilian
is like
butt lift.
Oh,
just as it's just as like risky as having open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like it has the same like risks aversion. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
So obviously Sarah objected to it. She didn't want it, but it didn't matter. So that $10,000 procedure was also added to her bill.
My God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as time went on, it's estimated that Harold would end up sexually assaulting Sarah roughly 2 to 3 times a week for the next 10 months.
Sarah.
Yeah. Over some time, Sarah started to snap. And I think, to me, like, it makes total fucking sense that she would snap.
Yeah.
Her demeanor started to change and her thoughts started to get darker. The drugs and alcohol paired with the prescription painkiller she was taking for the surgeries didn't help either, and it only exacerbated her past and her current PTSD.
All building onto her trauma.
So it's just adding layers and layers. So she was even quoted at trial saying, "I had violent thoughts for 2 years and they progressed, I guess. They just became really intense. I've not been in a good place. It's like really hard to explain. Little things make me turn and see red almost." So her traumas, and he's just adding to it and adding to it.
He's perpetuating the trauma. Like he's continuously building upon and regenerating trauma.
Yeah.
Like oh my God.
Yeah.
I hope he gets really fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we'll get there. One troubling thing that I saw in this process is, and I saw this, and I have this in here, is that one person came out to say, okay, so let me scratch that. Let me do that over. So one troubling thing I saw in a couple different sources, and it was listed as different people who had talked about this. But after I read a little bit more and after I started writing my notes, it was, this happened to multiple people because this happened a couple different times. So this next little bit happened a few times. So this one trouble thing is that one person came out and said before the murder that they were at Harold's house and they had opened up the refrigerator to see a skinned rabbit in a bowl. Yeah. And it was a rabbit that Sarah had purchased from a pet store.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yes. And she didn't get it, because you can eat rabbit is whatever, but you don't go to a pet store to get a whatever rabbit. So it was a rabbit that Sarah purchased from a store that she used a knife to kill and skin the animal. The same person said that Sarah pulled the fur out of the trash and explained how she did it, how she stuck the knife through the rabbit's neck and explained that she wanted to learn how to self-survive, and that the carcass was now in the refrigerator marinating for dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot right there.
Okay,
right?
that's
Self-survival. She's trying to say that, okay, well, it's in there for dinner, but I want to learn self-surviving skills.
In my mind, it's like she's preparing to live in the wilderness or something. She's going to run away.
Yeah.
And then,
I also was kind of shocked. I thought you were going to tell me that Harold did that.
I know, me too.
And, and then you were like, Sarah did. And I was like, oh.
It was Sarah because, again, she's starting to snap. All of these things are happening in her emotions, and all of these different things are happening, and she's trying to just figure out how to survive.
Yeah.
Which, to me, when I read the survival skills, is she's trying to protect herself because she thinks something bad's going to happen.
100%.
Yeah. So at this point, Sarah was physically and mentally abused and thought to be and she thought to be financially stuck with a manipulative man who was constantly telling her that nobody would want her, not even her family. So 2 days before the murder, Sarah ended up texting her sister saying, "I'm starting to realize I don't want the dream everyone wants for me. I don't want the American dream. I want real freedom, and I know how to get it, and I have to give up a lot. I feel like a caged animal." Which, that's heartbreaking. Just even knowing what's happening next, it's heartbreaking to just know what she was going through.
She was the perfect victim for Harold.
Yes.
She just was. It's just fucked up.
And he knew when he preyed on it.
Yeah.
So on the night of January 14th, 2014, Sarah officially snapped. Yeah.
Oh, my favorite show.
Yeah.
Harold had just returned from home from work. He decided to go work on his speaker system, and he asked Sarah to bring him a beer, and keep bringing him beers whenever he asked, which was, I think, just something that he always did whatever he wanted. She would get.
Gross.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Harold.
Yeah, fuck you, Harold. And Larry.
Yeah.
And Larry. Larry. No, Larry.
No, Larry, not
And
Larry.
Harold. Larry we like.
Yeah.
Is there a version of Harold that we like?
No.
No.
Yeah. No, Harold. No. This is actually the second Harold I've done a story on, but the first Harold was the murderer. This one's an abuser. So fuck all Harolds.
Yeah.
So as Harold drank his beers, he got to his fourth beer he was drinking. What he didn't know was Sarah ended up crushing some of the Ambien pills she had hiding from him and poured it into the can, which she did on the 4th can because she was worried he would taste it in his beer if he was not already intoxicated.
Well, that was smart.
Which, to me, I read this and I was like, fuck yeah, Sarah.
Oh my God, Sarah.
Like,
I know.
damn. Okay. So after a few more beers and 5 pills total, Harold ended up passing out on the floor and taking her chance. She quickly grabbed zip ties and bound his wrists together.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I have in here, and this is where I'm going to call a trigger warning. If you don't like to hear violent acts, just skip a little
But
bit.
let's be honest. If you're listening to this podcast,
I know. I was going to say
You'll want to
like,
hear this.
There might need to be a trigger warning. Maybe a little bit of it too.
I know.
but I also
Right.
think that everyone's going to be like, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, for the next part. Okay.
Yeah, so-
okay.
Okay.
So then Sarah decided to grab the same hunting knife, which she was already familiar with because of killing rabbits, and looked for his pulse on his neck. And then with precision, because what I didn't add in here, a couple days before the murder, they found records of her looking up like soft spots on her neck online.
Yeah.
So she violently stabbed Harold in his carotid artery. She then grabbed his head, kept it in place as she took the knife and slashed his neck with a sawing motion going side to side. By the time Sarah stopped, she nearly decapitated him.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, is it really bad that my mind is going to, you should have let him wake up and then done it?
Well, there was
Because he was just asleep.
There was one note that I saw something that he was like groggy still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
as she got up to go to the sink to clean off the blood, she stopped for a moment to write the words "freedom" on the walls with his blood. So a story written in blood because that's all she wanted.
It's a great title.
She wanted her
Oh,
freedom.
that was good. Yeah.
So from here, Sarah started to figure out what her next move was. She hopped in the shower to wash off the blood, called into work and let them know that she would not be in for a few days because of a death in the family.
Oh.
Right. She packed her bags, grabbed her dog Oliver, who is a big black lab, which I haven't mentioned, which I didn't see in the notes until this point anyways. She jumped into Harold's 2008 Nissan Altima and drove off into the distance, conveniently leaving her phone behind so no one could track her.
Damn, Sarah was kind of smart.
Right. So on January 17th, the people at CC's Pizza started to get worried because Harold hadn't shown up for a few days, so they called the police, who then headed to Harold's house. After knocking and no one answered, the police officer tried to peer into the window, and that's when he saw the body of Harold laying in a pool of his own blood. Quickly, Sarah had become a suspect, and they marked her off as a missing person because she was missing at that time. And so once leaving Topeka after the murder, Sarah headed south to Texas. Being that she was so young and didn't have much money, she stayed most nights in her car in various rest stops. Being that it was January and cold, she decided when she got to Texas that she wanted to head to Florida. Because, everything ends in Florida.
Yeah.
Knowing that she would eventually get caught, she thought it would be nice to go see the ocean. And there was also a tattoo artist that Sarah really liked, and she wanted to get some ink.
Oh.
Wow.
Right? Which I thought that was a weird ad, but
That is, okay.
and I almost didn't add it in here, but I thought
I
it
wanna
was
know
a
what
little
she-
relevant.
I want to know what she got.
Yeah,
So-
me too.
She made it to Florida to see the tattoo artist James Baker, where she spent $200 on a quote that she got on her rib cage, and it was a quote from the 1992 murder mystery novel "I Is for Innocent" by Sue Grafton. And the quote was, "Beware the dark pool at the bottom of our hearts. In its icy black depths dwell strange and twisted creatures. It is best not to disturb."
Wow.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Right?
Yeah, I
and
did
I
too.
saw that and I was like, I'm going to add that because
How
that's
fucking poetic.
I know,
Right?
but like,
Right?
oh my God.
Yeah.
But like, ooh,
Yeah.
it's really actually kind of scary.
right.
I know.
So on January 25th at 10:30 p.m., 11 days after the murder, a police officer came upon a stolen car in the Everglades National Park. So if you don't know Florida, Everglades National Park is at like the bottom of Florida. So she drove
All the
very
way
fucking
through.
far
Yeah.
in that 11 days. So waking up, he noticed a woman, walking up, he noticed a woman sleeping, waking her up. He saw Sarah sleeping next to a loaded gun. Inside the car, the police also discovered $2,399 in cash, 2 guns, an axe, 2 knives, one being a blood-stained murder weapon.
Oh my God, she kept it.
She
kept
did.
that shit.
Yeah. So when Sarah started to be interrogated, she initially told detectives that she just didn't feel anything. when all of that happened. But then she changed to say that when she saw Harold died, that everything was screaming at her.
Oh.
Right. So she admitted to the police that she wanted to see someone die, and she wanted to see what it felt like to kill someone, but with the idea that the emotionally, physically, mentally drained. She's speaking and she's saying these things that she might not necessarily be saying, but she's coming off of being drugged and all this other stuff.
I'm sure.
Oh,
that
true.
The news or other
all
people
the
went
drugs,
crazy
all, like,
with that.
I didn't even think about that. Like coming off of because he drugged her
100%.
up, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And if she's going off of those, like
Yeah.
But all that
So-
trauma, I'm sure,
Yeah.
it sparked some sort of this mental illness. Thing.
100%.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting that you said stuff about the media, because my next line is, and when the media heard about this, they went wild, which is really unfortunate, because articles and reports were coming out about this femme fatale that lured a man to his death, and the idea that she was sexually and mentally abused when ignored, even though it was obvious with their 33-year age gap that there was more to it.
33-year age gap.
So the prosecution also played this up as well. And there's no trigger warning here, but it will piss you off. The rest of this pissed me off. So before the trial in 2015, they met with the prosecution and the defense met with the trial judge in a closed-door meeting. In this meeting, the prosecution argued that any communication about the alleged abuse would be inappropriate for the jury to hear.
What?
Yeah, according to the transcripts of the meeting, they said to the judge that the details of those allegations would not appear proper in front of the jury during the guilty phase of the trial, because they would be simply information that would be used to create sympathy for the defendant.
Okay, well,
It's
no
true.
fucking
yeah,
shit.
is that okay?
Yeah.
Hello,
It's true.
Like, what? Like,
Yeah. This pissed me off. And they continued saying that the abuse was irrelevant information.
irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I fuck up so much.
I'm like irrelevant.
I know. Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, that's not how you say the word.
Brandon is so cute on this podcast because he mispronounces.
I'm so
some stuff, and
dyslexic.
it's just adorable. Yeah, his dyslexia kicks in.
So they also said how the abuse, if made public, that the media outlets would write about it, which would sway jurors when they were away from court. So
People need the full picture.
I know.
The
Like,
entire-
so how are you supposed to try somebody and not give all the information?
exactly.
Because
And
they
this
just
is
wanna
also
win.
Because they want to win.
exactly.
It's
And
not
this-
about helping.
Exactly. And this is also why the judicial system is so fucking flawed,
So
because this should
flawed.
not be possible. Because eventually the judge agreed.
Oh,
and the abuse was not presented at the trial, which is obviously very fucked up.
What the hell?
Yeah.
So you basically like that was like
Yeah.
putting the nail in the coffin.
It's basically saying that she's just a
it's already
murderer,
done.
that she did it just for no fucking
Yeah.
reason.
in a jury that doesn't get the full
and
scope.
you know they're going to take that what she told the police. I just wanted to see someone die, like I just want to see what
Yeah.
it's like to murder
That'll
someone.
be
You
the
know they're going to
main-
use that.
Yeah.
But they
100%.
can't use
But they
everything
can't use
before
the-
that
yeah, it's
like
fucked up.
led her up to this.
Yeah.
And oh my god.
And it's sad too, because once Sarah knew that
not
this
fair.
happened, she was quoted in saying, "I never had this mentality of I'm just going to get out scot-free. That's what I'm fighting for. That's what I want. But I did always want was
She wanted what was fair.
yeah."
Right.
She said, "But I did always want what was fair. If you don't say everything that happened, how can somebody decide what's fair?"
Exactly.
Yeah. So during the trial, Sarah's defense team stressed that Sarah suffered from dissociative identity disorder, which is what we now call multiple personality disorder, which made it impossible for her, the murder to be premeditated.
But I feel like that probably, because that's what they were able to use, that probably aided in not sympathy for her.
Yeah. Well, however, the prosecution came back at them saying that it was all exaggerating symptoms of mental illness. So on December 2020, the case finally came to a close when Sarah, well, probably shouldn't say that because it didn't come to a close, but Sarah was found guilty, and the district judge, Paula Martin, sentenced Sarah to a hard 50 sentence. So a hard 50 is where it's a life sentence with a mandatory 50 years before she would ever be eligible for parole, making her around 70 years old by the time she would be able to potentially be released. So, but it's not over. because after the trial, Sarah appealed the sentence on the grounds that she had ineffective counsel, being that he couldn't actually defend her if he wasn't able to get them to show all of the evidence.
Yeah.
And there were some other things that her defense team did that was really shitty. So at the same time, advocates of Sarah's were able to uncover more evidence that was not presented to the jury and not investigated to try to get the governor to grant her clemency. Okay, so at this time, it was found that Harold was even more of a dirtbag than we already thought. So the group in this search found that they found evidence of Harold grooming Sarah since she was 14. Harold downloaded hundreds of violent porn on his phone.
Of course he did.
He had visited multiple porn sites that featured children, teens, and bestiality, which is real great. He visited websites that also featured men fondling or having sex with women who appeared to be sleeping.
Oh my God, what a creep.
Yeah, and they also found in confidential reports that the police uncovered the fact that Harold was in the process of grooming 2 16-year-old twins before he died. He would give them cash, buy them gas, clothes, and weed, and more. Yeah.
The police discovered that?
Yeah, from what I saw, they had, and it wasn't a closed report.
Oh.
Yeah. And so all of this paired with the other abuse in the sexual assault with Sarah was all blocked from the jury. So in May of 2021, the Douglas County District Attorney reviewed the evidence and was surprised that it was dismissed in court and ended up resentencing Sarah to a hard 25. However, the length of her term will still ultimately be determined by the parole board, which will at least get to sit in front of 25 years sooner than she would have before. So they didn't
do a retrial?
Well, no, they did. They had this district attorney had the both parties, her new defense attorney, because she got a new defense attorney, and the prosecution come together. And it was a bunch of legal jargon that I couldn't really understand, and I didn't want to misinterpret it.
Yeah.
But it ended up with them agreeing to resentencing her to the hard 25. So now she has a maximum of 25 years in prison.
But she's been serving since 2014.
Essentially.
So do they like retro?
I believe they do.
I think they backed it. Yeah, like back to be like, okay, well, you've like, because sometimes people get off on time served.
Yeah, I'm like, she's already served.
But like almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's the story of Sarah Gonzales-McLinn.
Sarah, I'm sorry.
So fuck you, Harold. You deserved it.
Fuck you, Harold. You nasty bitch.
Yeah.
Shit. But see, there was another situation of somebody who could not get out of.
Yeah, like she didn't see any other way. And she was so young.
Yeah, she was so young.
So young. Like,
and she didn't know better, right? So if somebody's threatening you with legal action and this and that and saying,
scary.
oh, here's your tab, you have to pay me or I will take you to court.
Scary.
And she
don't
feels
know.
like an animal in a cage. Like, and when you put an animal in a cage and you're threatening, like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
It's all
these are difficult things.
It's just all unfortunate.
Yeah, and like, of course, again, the justice system failed once again. Shocker, because they didn't present all the like facts.
They should have had the full.
Yeah,
you get the full picture of who this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it's relevant.
Yeah, why did she do this? What provoked her to do it?
Well,
and it's not like she just was born or bred into being a murderer. She went through traumatic experience after traumatic experience, and her PTSD went undiagnosed.
Yeah.
And
which somebody leveraged to continue re-traumatizing
Yeah.
her. I mean, that's exactly what he was doing.
And I'm not saying she doesn't need to have like there doesn't need to be some intervention of some type that she needed help.
Yeah,
but that's what she needed help.
She did. Yeah,
and
she needed somebody to support her.
Sending her to prison for 25 hard years is not always the solution. Like maybe actually helping.
Yeah.
And maybe
ultimately she killed someone.
Yeah.
Which so I do I think that there's some sort of repercussions for that? Yeah. But they didn't get the full scope.
And like that for them to even like for her like to get help in the sense too with like her mental well-being.
Yeah.
Like that's not probably happening in the prison she's in right now.
Totally.
Well,
effectively.
Yeah, what I think is super shitty too is that depending on the parole board, she might not get granted release, right?
Yeah.
And what if it's a bunch of men that are misogynistic and feel the same way as Harold did, right?
Where is she in jail?
I believe
Florida, or is she in?
I believe she's in Kansas, but I'd have to double check.
Yeah, see, but they're in states that don't favor.
I think they're in Douglas County, which is in Topeka, in that area.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
believe.
so you're in.
Yeah.
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 Because essentially the murder happened in Kansas.
Yeah, they
She
would
would
have
be
extradited
extradited
her back.
Yeah.
Yeah. To there. Wow. Well, that's
It's like it's unfortunate that we don't have a system that wants to actually help.
Yeah.
it doesn't. I think that there's more to be gained in prosecution than there is into. Yeah, I think that that's why they really start to try to build cases on circumstantial evidence where you're like, are you sure this is the person?
Yeah.
Because it's much easier to like hone in and win than it is to like, let's actually find the true.
Yeah,
let's find the truth.
Let's find the truth. Like,
Yeah.
and do what's right.
Yeah.
Well,
Like-
and the prosecutors to go to the judge and to be like, all of these alleged, and they found so much evidence. It's like, why would you exclude that?
Why would
that
you- I
doesn't
know.
offer
Exactly.
the full scope.
It doesn't.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
And it shouldn't be, it's just gross because the legal world, their job is to make sure that their client gets the best outcome, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so for the prosecutors, they don't care about who he was or what he did.
Yeah.
They just want to win the case.
Yeah.
They don't really care about what she went through, what anything. And to me, defense attorneys are really shitty. Or criminal defense attorneys are just shitty. And I know we know a few, and
Yeah.
it just sucks because your job is to make the person who went through the worst experiences of their life pay for things that they shouldn't necessarily have to pay for.
Yeah, I know. It's awful. Poor Sarah. Oh my God. But Harold, I'm sorry. He deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really feel bad for him.
Never trust
No,
a
I
Harold
don't.
or a
I
Larry.
don't feel bad. I mean, honestly, yeah, fuck Larry. And
But also
Harold
she
too. Like,
technically Sarah saved those other two girls he was grooming.
oh, I
yeah.
didn't even. You know what? Yeah,
Essentially,
no
yeah.
way.
Right? Like they didn't experience what she experienced because she killed him.
Yeah.
So
And he would have. And the crazy thing is, he would have gone after. He would have discarded her like like trash.
that's probably why he was grooming
I know
two younger girls.
and he was grooming
Yeah.
his next two.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have even. Those type of people, it wouldn't have even like affected him. He would just move on.
Yep, to the next one.
Yep.
You
Exactly.
ruin somebody's life, and then on to the next one to
Bye.
ruin some more people.
Yeah.
Like that's
Fuck
what
her.
is like. That's just sick.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so sick.
Wow.
Yeah, men are
Brandon,
gross.
I agree. That
yeah,
was-
true.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I told you that one had some layers.
Yeah,
Brandon's like
I mean,
writing
both
it
of
and,
these
like,
were
you
like
know.
very like whoa.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my God. Well, wow. Okay. There we go.
Well, that's a wrap.
Luke.
Yes, thank you so much for coming and
I
joining
love
us
that
today.
you came.
Of course, I know.
How'd
Thank you.
How'd
for
you
having me.
feel?
I feel bad. Honestly,
Sorry to leave you.
no, I honestly
feeling
just
awful.
feel so bad because I know there's people that are going through situations like this right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
And and I, for one, I mean, of course, I can talk about dumping his ass and,
Yeah.
and doing what's best for you, but I just know some people feel so stuck, and so if you ever feel stuck, just know that like you do have people that care for you.
Yeah.
And that people will believe you.
Yeah, people and
Yeah.
and there's people that want to help, and I really hope that I don't know,
Yeah.
but I can figure out a way to help more from my end, and I
Yeah.
think that's something now that like I need to figure out how.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, but I do think that to shoot some love your way, you I think have impacted people just on your platform.
Thank you.
In the community that you have, more than you'll probably ever know. I think that happens when you become, at a certain level, and certainly where you're at. I think that you have absolutely motivated people through your comedic, approach, but also through your raw approach.
Thank you.
To figure out how to do that. So I think you're already doing quite a bit in general. But yeah, whatever we could do, I think that what we have to do is love hard.
Yeah.
And love our friends hard and be there for them and believe them and offer whatever support that we can to help get them out of a situation.
Yeah.
And that's what we can do. And it's hard. I think that you also have to identify, when people change, there's a reason someone's changing.
Yeah, like if you notice something different in a friend or a family member, and you notice something's off, like I encourage to let them know that you're there.
Ask questions.
Like for me, like all my friends, I hope they know that like I am a safe place of solitude.
Yeah.
So if you ever needed anything, like call me. Like first of all, I keep my mouth shut. But I also am like a place that you can come to. Like if you need a place to stay, I want to be that person.
I'll call you.
Yeah.
You're my safe person.
I don't like what's going on.
I'm
here?
not doing anything.
Like, sorry.
I'm not abusing him, I swear.
I know. I just like looked at like.
Unless he asks for it.
Oh.
I'm just kidding, kind of.
He's like, I love how he goes, anyways, let's move on.
And I also love
Tell
because
our
my parents
secrets.
listen to this.
They totally
they
listen to this.
I love that. That's so
No,
sweet.
I taught them what a rim job was. Not like showed them, but like,
Okay,
explained it to them.
okay.
He's like, okay, then you.
He's like, you take the cheese. Oh my god.
No, we were at this restaurant, Sex on the Beach. Is that what it's
No,
called?
it's
Or
Better Than Sex.
Better Than Sex.
It's
Oh,
a dessert
the dessert
restaurant.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Key
Key
West,
West.
and they ordered some.
It was a drink that
martinis.
was called a rim job because
Yeah.
it had chocolate on the wine glass.
Stop it.
And they were like, I was like, you guys know what a rim job is? And they were like, yeah, there's like chocolate on the rim. And I was like,
He's like, let me
let
tell
me tell you
you.
about that. And it was hilarious.
It was amazing.
I love to push Brandon's parents into like these kind of uncomfortable zones
Yeah.
because they like grow and they're great humans. And I feel like they're very different people from when I met them.
Yeah.
For who they
And
are
they
now.
love it. They love how like out of the box you are with them.
Out of the
Yeah, I'm
box.
so out of the box. I mean, even we went to Iceland with them and we're like in the car and I'm like, guys, let's play Never Have I Ever.
Oh
And we
god.
got some juice.
We did get
from
some
Brandon's
juice. Oh,
mom.
really?
And I was like, you did what on the car hood with a police officer?
Oh.
I know. She's probably going to hate me for saying that now. But it was amazing. I'm like, live your life.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what like people judge way too
Yeah,
much.
I know.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Hey,
Because we're all doing, you know.
everyone's doing shit. Like everyone's doing
We
shit.
are, yeah. And we're all experiencing life, you know, like we were even talking and it was with our team, I think. And I was like, have you ever been like wiping your ass and your finger slips and you're like, well, I just scooped shit out of my asshole.
Yes.
People are like, what? And I'm
Right.
like, all of us have done
I
that.
know.
Such an
Like-
unfortunate event, but
It
I'd rather do
is.
that than put a Q-tip in my butthole.
Yeah, that was
So,
not fun.
I mean,
yeah.
I have to do it every 3 months. So.
God, okay, I had difficulty finding my asshole to put the Q-tip in, but I had to pull up my camera, bend down
Stop.
to look at my asshole to put it in.
I also love if you did not listen to the episode prior to this,
Oh.
pause and go listen to that episode beginning just so we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not just putting shit in
fucking
my ass.
microphone
Yeah, you and this
stand.
mic. But yeah, no, it was difficult.
I mean, I just kind of like was like, oh, there it is.
I was.
I
Like,
mean, it wasn't that difficult.
I kept poking, and I just wasn't finding.
my hole was like, hey, baby, what is
Oh,
this?
are we-
Yeah, Mine's, oh my god, yeah.
Brad did. I love that
Mine's
so
like,
much.
welcome in. Oh my god, I've been waiting for you. Wait,
Welcome to my crib.
what is this?
Wow.
Wait, this
Mine
is not
was
what I was
not.
thinking was going to come in here. But
Do you guys remember that video of like that pink it's like a gummy and it's
Oh.
she's like hopping around.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
like,
the
I'm a
gummy-
gummy bear, but
I'm
she
a
hits the bear
gummy
trap and she's
bear.
like, yeah, that was my asshole.
I love the like
scream
in
was my
unison
asshole.
scream.
yeah, that was.
It's like you pitched perfectly.
Yeah.
Level.
I think what was that? What was that on? Was that on?
Was that like
it was like
Adult
something
Swim
on
or
Adult
something?
Swim.
It
I
must
can't
have been.
remember, but it was so goddamn funny.
Robot Chicken or something.
Oh, yeah, it might have
it might have
been.
been Robot Chicken.
Maybe,
or-
yeah. I couldn't handle that shit.
No.
Every time, like the scream alone,
I know.
can't do it. And for some reason, people screaming make me laugh a lot. Not in like terror, like
Yeah.
someone's being murdered, clearly, but if they're like scared from like being scared, and they
yeah.
just scream,
Like
I
jump
can't.
scare.
I think that the
Jump
algorithm
scares.
on TikTok knows that because I get a lot of those like,
Yeah, like-
scare
Yeah,
videos.
I mean, we are also the type that if, say, we're home, not
scare each
sober
other.
and stoned, we'll just like put YouTube on and watch fail videos,
oh my god, it's so
Oh,
fun.
fun.
and it's so much fun.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
It's so interesting. God, yeah. Anyway,
Life.
well, this was really fun. I'm
Yes,
glad that
thank
you
you.
joined us. Thank you for
Thank
doing
you.
that.
Luke, how can people find you?
Yeah.
I'm on all social media channels at Luke, which is Luke, and Franchina, and that's spelled like Fran and then China. And
Franchina.
I'm on all platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't know who Luke is, which I probably doubt, but if you don't, there are two iconic things that you do on your,
Yeah.
well, more than that, but.
Hi,
what-
bestie.
Yes.
Hi,
What else?
bestie. And dump his ass. Making
then-
sure that you know you're loved and that you're supported. through every stage of your life too.
And his channel is fucking amazing and hilarious, and we love it.
And I like to just kind of give story times with my life gets weird.
It's
I mean,
fun.
all of our lives are weird, right? But I feel like people don't talk about it.
I agree.
Like, I'm going to talk about my weird shit. Like, I don't care.
That's why we talked about our butthole moment sticking.
Yeah,
things of it.
like,
yeah,
I mean,
whatever. We got to do it. Also, we had never done it before, so we're just going to highlight that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really glad that you joined us. Thank
I
you for
appreciate you
doing it.
having me.
And
it was great.
We did not say so. If you follow us, please go. If you don't follow us, please go follow us and subscribe to YouTube. But then also rate and review.
Yes. We're mostly on Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
because those matter. And if not, bye. But thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And Luke, thanks for joining us.
Of course,
Yes.
thanks for having me.
Can you send us out with your incredible laugh?
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day. Bye.